Hi all, welcome back to another lecture of DBMS, and in this lecture we will learn about types of relationship in more brief and in more depth. We will learn about types of relationship, and out of which there are four different types of relationship we will learn in more detail, out of which one to one, one to many, many to one and many to many relationship. And then last we will see what is ER diagram along with those relationship. So we will apply these relationship and we will learn how we actually represent the relationship in the ER diagram. So stay tuned and stay focused for the video, and let's begin with the very first topic, which is types of relationships. So why relationships are important? So basically they define how entities interact with one another. Entities here means table, right? Or table name, like it can be employee, it can be salary table, right? So how these entities are related to each other, the relationship defines that within a database, influencing how data is organized and accessed. So there are primarily four different types of relationship. First is one-to-one. So one-to-one relationship is associated with a single instance of another entity. So when an entity is associated with a single instance of another entity, it is called one-to-one relationship. So example, a single person can have single passport. So one person can have only one passport. So it shows one-to-one relationship. Another is one-to-many relationship. So an entity is associated with a multiple instance of another entity. In this case, one entity can be associated with multiple instances of another entity. So this is an example of one-to-many, where a customer can have several orders. So one customer can buy pen, book, bucket. So these are the orders placed by one customer. So this is basically one-to-many relationship. Another is many-to-one. So in this case, more than one instance of an entity is associated with a single instance of another entity. So from one table, we can have more than one entities associated with a single entity. So example, several students study in a college. So there can be 10,000 of students from student table studying in the same college A from the college table. So this shows the relationship of many to one. Next is many to many. So in this case, multiple instance of an entity is associated with a multiple instance of another entity. So instance of entity means table here. So multiple instances of one table can be associated with the multiple instances of another table, and so on. Okay, so this is example of like how several students can work on several projects, right? So it can happen that four students are working on single project, and all at the same time. It might happen that out of these four students, one student is also working on project B. So basically, one student can work on different projects and multiple students can work on the same project. So it is many to many relationship. Now let's begin with these relationships one by one with the following examples and the ER diagram. First is one-to-one. So basically we know that in this, a single record or single instance of entity is associated with the single instance of another entity. So here, like example, a passenger can exactly have one passport, and each passport is issued only to one passenger. So this is basically strictly showing the one-to-one relationship. So here this is a passenger entity with having passenger ID, name and contact number as the attribute, and it has the relationship with the passport of one-to-one, where issue date, passport ID and passenger ID are the attributes for passport entity, and this has a relationship shows the one-to-one relationship between the passenger and the passport entity. Next is one-to-many relationship. So in this we know that when a single record, one-to-many, so single record associated with multiple records, so that can be associated with multiple records in another table, gives a one-to-many relationship. So example, each train can have multiple bookings. So for one train A, we can have multiple, like 100 or thousands of bookings, right? So this shows one-to-many relationship. So this relationship allows a train to be booked by many passengers across different journeys. So this is our train entity, this is our booking entity, and train ID, train number, source and destination are the attributes for the train entity. Similarly, booking ID, passenger ID and date are the attributes for booking entity, and for one train there can be multiple bookings and bookings. So this shows one-to-many relationship. I hope this much is clear. Now let's move on to another type of relationship, which is many to one relationship. So in this case, many to one occurs when multiple records in one table can be associated with a single record of the another table. So another table and a record. Record is nothing but the entry. So basically one row. So from one table there can be multiple records associated with a single row of the another table, and this shows the many to one relationship, right? So example, here is your booking table entity and here is a passenger entity, right? So we know that multiple bookings can be done by one passenger. So one passenger can book 4 or 5 tickets, like multiple tickets with different name for sure, but one passenger can book. They have the right to book multiple number of bookings. So multiple number of bookings can be associated with a single person, can be done by a single person, and this shows the relationship of many to one relationship. Similarly, booking ID, passenger ID, booking ID, and date are the attributes from booking table or booking entity. Similarly, name, gender, contact number and passenger ID are the attributes for the passenger table, and it shows as a relationship between the booking table and the passenger. And now next is many to many relationship. So basically here it occurs when multiple records in one table, means multiple rows of one table is associated with multiple rows of another table. It gives many to many relationship. So for example, we have book passenger and we have booking table, right? So a passenger can have multiple bookings of different trains on different dates. Conversely, a particular booking can also have multiple passengers, like for a family that travels together. So basically one passenger can book multiple bookings, right? For trip or for whole family, right? Similarly, there can be multiple passengers with, let's suppose, father, mother, who want to book 6 seats, right? So multiple passengers can go with one whole cabinet. So this we can say that multiple passengers are booking one train, or one passenger are booking multiple multiple seats. So this shows the relationship of many to many between the entities. Now, whatever we have learned, the different types of relationship between the entities, we will be representing via the ER diagram and using those relationships here. So let's take the example of IRCTC. So this illustrates how the various types of relationships are essential for bookings of train by passengers. So here you can see there are different types of entities like passenger table, booking table, ticket table and train table. So basically table is entity here. Okay, so we have 4 different entities. So now let's learn how one-to-many relationship is applicable here, right? So one-to relationship shows, this is one-to-many, right? One-to-many. So it shows like how a single passenger can have multiple bookings and a train can accommodate many bookings from different passengers. So how one passenger can have 4 or 5 multiple bookings from the booking table. It shows one-to-many relationship. Similarly, for many to one, it exists when passenger and trains mediated by the booking table, allowing passengers to book multiple trains. So basically, many to many relationship happens when multiple passengers are allowed to book multiple bookings. So basically, we are only differentiating with different scenarios, like when one passenger is booking 4 or 5 tickets for their family or anyone else, then it shows one-to-many relationship. Similarly, for many-to-many, multiple passengers can book multiple bookings or also on different trains, right? So this shows many-to-many relationship. Now next is one-to-one, right? So a single passenger can hold a single ticket, right? It means like one ticket can belong to a single person, right? Even if you have booked 4 tickets, but 4 tickets you haven't booked for one person, right? 4 tickets are for 4 person also. So means one ticket belongs to one person. So it shows one-to-one relationship between the entities. The rest one is many to one. Many to one, how it happens? So basically, multiple passengers can book a single train, right? Can book in a single train. So this shows the many to one relationship. Here, these passenger ID, name, gender, and contact number are the attributes for the passenger entity. Similarly, this booking ID, train ID, passenger ID, and date are the attributes for booking, and similarly for train and tickets. And the diagonal shape you can see, right? Books, makes, has. This is nothing but this is a relationship between the two entities. And the number like 0, OO, NN. So O is basically 1 to 1, or you can say 1 or 1, right? N or 1 shows multiple, like many to 1. Similarly, 1 N shows 1 to many. Similarly, N to N shows many to many relationship. So this is how we represent in a ER diagram, how we represent the relationship between those two entities. And that was all about the relationship, 4 different types of relationship we learned, and also how to represent in an ER diagram. I hope you learned. Now let's meet in another lecture. Till then, keep learning. Take care of yourself and your family too.